Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in for the full moon in Pisces chart read. A little late getting this up, but we're going to get to it. It's happening on September 2nd Eastern Time, but it could be probably September 1st for some people. 1:22 a.m. Eastern Time, September 2nd, 2020. It's the annual full moon in Pisces. And the full moon in Pisces is always like really magical and spiritual and stuff like that. By the way, my name is vickieverlie. I am the rock and roll prophetess. I do psychic tarot, psychic astrology, and channeling. And this is a psychic astrology reading. So it's not just by the book astrology. I'm using this as a tool to kind of tune into the energy. If you're a very by the book astrologer, this might not be for you. If you're looking at this chart thinking, oh, this looks too complicated, I'm never going to understand it, hang in there, because the more we get into it, the more it gets less astrology and more psychic. So give it a chance if you're interested. All right, so let's take a look at this. As I was saying, it's, the Pisces energy at the full moon is always like psychic, spiritual, dreams. I've already started having some, major dreams. Pay attention to your dreams at this time, because that's going to be really, things will be illuminated through Piscean means, which is dreams, subconscious mind, intuition, signs and symbols. I'm just trying to get a little bit of my smudge going here. It's raining and there's a little bit of a must. It's been raining like crazy. That's another thing with the Pisces, all the rain and everything, the rainy weather. There's been a lot of flooding in my area. So I'm just trying to there's a little bit of a musty smell. And I'm cleansing the energy too, but I'm really just trying to get rid of that musty smell, because I don't like any kind of spray perfumes or anything. I like more natural ways, but whatever. Yeah, so a lot of rain, a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions could really come to the surface. Just as the water comes from the sky, I'm feeling like the water coming from our eyes, like the weeping, or release through tears. Some of us maybe have like a good cry. Sometimes it feels good to have a good cry. It can be a major release. Especially male, men in our society, we're told to hold that back. Don't let them see you cry. Don't let them see you sweat. Well, 12th house, you don't have to let them see you do anything. You can do it all by yourself. But it's a good way to these emotional releases. And usually with the Piscean energy, it's not through outward. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna battle you. I'm gonna go after you. That's more the realm of Aries and some of the other signs too. But the Pisces is that way. It would be like a good cry, or a long bath, something having to do with the water. If you were planning on doing any kind of like rituals or things that you wanted to do to release at this time, because the full moons are always good times to do releasing things, you might want to do it by a body of water, or even include water in the ritual. Usually what I'll do if I'm going to do something like that with water, what I'll do is I'll take toilet paper, and because toilet paper will dissolve in the water, I don't want to pollute the waterways, right? And I'll take sheets of toilet paper and write down things that I'm trying to release, and then I'll take it and just throw them out into the lake or wherever, and then that's just a way of releasing. That's one of many ways you could do it, Or people told me you could write them on leaves, like take one of these sage leaf or something, write what you're trying to release down. Because the writing down of is also very getting it out, cathartic, releasing it, getting it out of you. So that's it's a good time to do these kind of things. Of course, it's opposing the sun. That's why it's a full moon. But let's take a look. It's sextiling Uranus. Yeah, it's sextiling Uranus exactly, because Uranus is at 10 degrees and the moon is at 10 degrees, so therefore we have exact locked in. So that's the Uranus in the second, the Uranus in the Taurus energy. This has been a real, Uranus in Taurus is very, Uranus brings turbulence and shakes things up and changes things. And Taurus doesn't, of all the energy and all the signs in the zodiac, Taurus does not like change. It definitely does not like change, doesn't want to be changed. So Uranus in Taurus has brought about a lot of turbulence. It's also, you know, the money systems and things like that. But sextiling to the full moon, this could be like, maybe we could have insights and ideas of how to calm this struggle. The struggle between wanting to stay fixed and stay, you know how everything's going to work out, and then Uranus just being totally fly by the seat of your pants. Let's see what the day takes us. Let's break away from old conventions. You know, there's definitely that fight. There's that fight going on. You know, the Taurus energy, the old paradigm, you could look at it as wants to stay fixed, wants to stay things the way they were, doesn't want change. And then the other end of that is we want a revolution. Uranus is the planet of revolution. So there's definitely those two things are pulling against each other, working against each other, fighting each other. And it is being expressed out into our society through everything that's going on, all the unrest, political uprisings, the protests. That's all this. That's Uranian energy saying, no, we don't want the status quo to stay as it is. This stuff, too, is also interacting with this lower degree of Capricorn. In this chart, it's right on the part of fortune at 9 degrees. You know, I accidentally left the part of fortune in when I ran the yearly charts for 2020. I usually don't, and I've been using them, and I think I'm going to continue to leave it in because I think it has value. But you know, the part of fortune is the way out. It's the way that things could be fortunate, or what how the outcome could be good. What good could be brought out of it. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is also, you know, doesn't like change. It's ruled by Saturn. It's the old paradigm, big time. You know, it's the father. It's the patriarchy. It's I rule the roost. You do things my way. And look, we've got all this stuff being. Pluto's been going through there, so it's been transforming and going through a big transformation. And we still have this big stellium here, you know, this big stellium. I am offering those ingress readings, and at that time, the Pluto-Saturn is in tight conjunction, and this whole stellium is here too. So if you, that would be part of what I would look at in the ingress reading, as far as how it would affect your chart if you're interested in that. But the part of fortune being here, you know, so there could be some kind of good, like a blessing. There could be a blessing that would come out of allowing this to happen, is what I'm really feeling about it. And it's a grand trine on Earth, actually, when you bring in the Sun, because we got the Sun at 10 degrees, part of fortune at 9, and Uranus at 10, Earth. So the Earth energy is grounding things down into the Earth, setting it into reality, letting it take root, giving it a foundation. That's a big thing that Capricorn energy, or Saturn Capricorn energy deals with, is foundations. Because Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, why I bring it up if you're not following, 10th house, all the same energy. Saturn, the ruling planet, rules the bones in your body. And you know, we always say, without your bones in your body, you'd be a big lump of flesh on the ground. So you need the bones of your body to give foundation, to give structure, to make things kind of work. Staying in this 9-10 degree thing here, we've got the Chiron squaring up with all this stuff, squaring up with this. It's like an inconjunct or something with this. So the Chiron is still in there. I'm hearing the word menacing, and that's not my word, that's from the guides. I try not to think of Chiron as menacing, although many people do. Many people don't want to face Chiron, don't want to look at it. Chiron is the deep wounds that we have within ourselves, how we've wounded ourselves over and over again. In our natal chart, it would be in this lifetime as well as our past lifetimes. And if you ordered one of my soul reading charts, Chiron is one of the main players that I look at. It's, you know, it's karma we bring in with us. So as a collective, this is karma that we bring in with us from other lifetimes, meaning not in the sense of reincarnation, but in the sense of group karma, as it relates to race, as it relates to, you know, many things. It may have, the things that have not occurred in our lifetimes but are still open wounds that we as a collective or as a society are still dealing with. And ultimately, Chiron wants it to be healed. That's what Chiron wants. It wants it to be healed. It doesn't want to. It doesn't want the wound to keep festering. But as long as it is still festering, Chiron's going to show you it, keep showing you it, and keep bringing it up, and keep throwing it in your face. It's nothing. Chiron, especially in the sign of Aries, is not going to allow things to be swept under the rug and forgotten. You can try to stuff it, and you can try to ignore it, but it's going to keep coming back. It's going to keep coming back until it's really, truly healed and transmuted. So Chiron's a big player in this chart. And in the sign of Aries, I feel like that's another reason why we're going through all this turmoil as a society, and with rioting and everything that's happening all the time, is because it's in the sign of Aries. It was in the sign of Pisces for quite a while, and where the full moon is, and that can be the martyr. The Pisces energy is very subtle. Can be hidden. So while it was in Pisces, it was discovering the hidden wounds, and now it's going to say something about them. It's going to bring it out. It won't be shut up. It's going to be a fight. It's going to fight for what's right in Aries. That's the warrior spirit. Speaking of Aries, we've got a Lilith-Mars conjunction. So talk about fighting for what's right. Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars is also the warrior energy. You know, it's just what we just said. You know, first house Aries and Mars are all similar. The same energy, really. With Lilith. Lilith isn't taking any shit from anybody either. You know, she's not. If you read the mythology of Lilith, you know, she was like, no, Adam. She was the first wife of Adam, and she says, no, I'm not going to be your subservient. Sorry, dude. That's not me. I'm not going to do it. And so they threw her out of the place, out of Eden, and then they killed all her children, and she still was like, no, I will not be less than. And, you know, Lilith always gets this bad rap, you know, she's like, oh, you know, Lilith wasn't saying, no, I will dominate you, you won't dominate me. I don't feel Lilith was ever trying to dominate. And I don't feel like people who that are against, you know, that don't like people fighting for equality, they don't get that either, you know. Nobody's saying, no, I'm going to dominate you. In saying, you won't dominate me does not necessarily mean that, therefore, I will dominate you. It just means Lilith only wanted equality. She didn't want to, you know, force Adam to be subservient. She just wanted, you know, equality. That's all she was shooting for. And that's all anybody who's, well, I wouldn't say anybody. You know, I'm sure there's exceptions, but for the most part, all these protests and riots, that's all everybody wants. They want equality. That's what they want. And in this case, the Mars-Lilith conjunction is opposing Pallas in Libra. Or Juno in Libra. That's Juno, isn't it? Yeah, that's Juno. And Libra is that. Libra is the house and sign of partnership, equality, the scales balancing out. We're shooting for the scales to be balanced because they've been out of balance for so long. And this isn't about any one particular issue. There's many, many issues going on like this. And it's not only in the collective at large with all the riots and everything. It's in our personal lives. And I know it's like what they're showing me is I'm seeing the scales like kind of like it could never be exactly, just like anybody, you know, if you're in a long-term relationship, you know that it's never quite exactly equal. But it goes up and down, but it's staying within the range, not where it's just like this. Like, okay, here we are. We rule everything. We have all the money. We have all the power. And you know, whatever. I'm seeing from that movie, I can't think of the name of it. Patrick Swayze's a doctor, and he goes to India. He has a big spiritual awakening while there. But in one part of that movie, he's talking to the dude who runs everything, and he's putting weights on chickens' necks, and he's getting off on it. He's like, yeah, you just put enough weight on them. So, you know, that's what the image I'm being shown. You know, nobody needs weights around their neck. And anybody who wants to put that there, you know, you might want to re-examine your motivations and your values and whatever, you know. So we're trying to get those weights off of our neck, because that's what do you do when you're balancing a scale, like an old-fashioned scale like that? You use these little weights, and you take some off, and you put it on the other side, until it comes to this happy medium where everybody can, in a range where everybody feels satisfied and everybody feels worthy and everybody feels acknowledged and noticed, and that whole thing like that. This Mars Lilith conjunction is also interacting really strongly with the nodes. It's exact trine to the south node, and it's exact sextile to the this one, the north node. And the nodes are always where we're going. It's where we've been and where we're going. And that's, again, if you ever order one of those soul readings, those are always available. That's another thing I look at, because your personal node in your chart tells a lot of why you're here on Earth. What are you shooting for? What are you working on? But as a collective, as the nodes, and we're not that far into it. This is it's only been a few months or so where this has shifted into we're at the high degree still. So we want to see where we've been, but also we want to go look where we're going. And while the North Node is in Gemini, we want to talk things out. We don't want to let this energy keep brewing and festering. And we want all sides to be heard with the Gemini energy. All sides to be heard. Not just constantly, because with the Mars and this, what it can be is, what I see a lot on social media, it's just blast, 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 blast. Just grab these memes, grab these links, and just constantly blast out your opinion with really little thought to it, don't even look at what site it came from. If it's, fake news TV blah blah blah. I mean, even if you don't want to take the extra minute to fact check something before you just blast it out there, just even look at what website it came from, because a lot of them you can just tell right then, like, this doesn't sound like a legitimate website, but people's, instead of just blast, 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 there's this give and take. There's the balance again. Okay, I expressed myself, I said something, now I will listen and hear what you have to say as well. Having an open discussion, having open communication is going to be the only way that resolution can come about. Yeah, people are angry, and riots and that have their place to some extent, but that's not. I don't know that that's really. It's calling attention to things. It's calling attention to problems, but is it really? It's not really It's not leading to a resolution or solving of issues. While the node is in Gemini for the next year and a half or so, we're looking at communication, conversation. That is going to be the way. And it's not just running your mouth. It's like if you're trying to talk to somebody and there's blah, 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 and you're just like, wait, blah, 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 blah. And they don't even listen to one thing you say. And you're trying to address one thing they said, and they've just spit out 10 more things at you. These talking points, these lines, it's like, oh, what about this? It being always in confrontation, always in argument. Like blah 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 blah. Oh, blah 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 blah. Oh, blah 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 blah. Where each has a chance to speak and be heard. Being heard is, people are writing because they're not being heard. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. They're not being heard. So let's listen. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation. This Mars Lilith thing is also squaring, it's directly squaring with the Venus here, which is opposing Pluto. So that's Venus in Cancer is very loving and very nurturing. That's like the mother love energy. That's mother love. That's grandma love. That's nurturing, taking care of. Let me feed you. I want to kiss your boo boo and make you better. Come in here. Let me give you some soup. Let me let me crochet you a blanket and wrap you up in it. That's what this energy is. And it's being really challenged and taken on. Honestly, I feel like it's just no match for this. it's outnumbered and overwhelmed, and especially for Pluto. Venus in Cancer is no match for Pluto. Venus in Cancer is very, again, it's that mother, grandmother. Could you see a, grandmother who's making soup and crocheting out there fighting, trying to, with people with guns and, these power weapons, whatever they're called, those automatic weapons, whatever they're called. Is she any match for them? Well, what the guys are just coming through with is, yeah, maybe on the surface, no, but she is. She actually is. She could be disarming of that, Hopefully nobody's gonna gun down a grandma with her knitting and soup in the middle of the street, Hopefully they might stop and say, hey, Grandma, let me help you cross the street. Oh, you got some soup for me? Cool. I could really use some soup. Thank you. They'll take that nurturing. They'll give that respect, maybe. Again, we've got to look at this whole thing, this 24, 25-degree thing with Pluto. It's back to the Mercury. Mercury's right in there, too. And Mercury is the ruler of the North Node, of everything we were just talking about. So this is all connected. Same energy. It's the ruling planet of the Gemini where the node is. So talking is the key. Communication is the key. Not just communicating, putting everybody on blast and just, it's not only on social media. I've noticed this with friends. Like, I'll try to talk to them. Well, what about this? And I'll say, well, and before I can even say, well, this is what I think, and this and this and this, they're just tossing these bombs at you. And they're just these bits, these sound bites that, they're not interested in hearing your opinion or the other side of it in any way. And as long as we're not interested in hearing the other side, we're not going to progress. This is the way to progress, through the North Node. We won't progress. There will be no resolution. There will be no resolution, only revolution. Yeah, that's what the guides are saying, man. All right, man. So it's a lot. It's tumultuous. But the full moon in Pisces. Let's just wrap it up with that vibe and that energy. The full moon in Pisces is going deep. It's going deep within. It's finding peace. I just finished that book and it's out. I want to thank everybody who's downloading it and everything. It's really cool, and I want to thank you guys all for that. But one of the big messages is just peace. And at one point they say it's not just a slogan from a bygone era, meaning it started in the 60s. They've been broadcast, and everybody was walking around with the hippies, yeah, peace, man, right? They said, no, it's more than that. It's a big thing that is needed at this time in order for us to progress. And what else was I going to say about peace? They said another really cool thing. What was it? Oh, they said another word for light worker could be keepers of the peace. I love that. It's like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll be a keeper of the peace, or try to be. It can be difficult because we're in the Earth's atmosphere. We're in the suit, man. We're in here, and this shit's going down all around, and we're in it. And it's easier to be from the outside looking in, saying, oh yeah, we should be peaceful and we shouldn't have riots. But when you're in it, especially, there's a big disparity. Like, I live in an urban area, and there's a big difference with the vibe where I live as compared to like the suburbs and stuff. And I'm not putting anybody down that lives in the suburbs. I actually am ready to move out there myself. I've had enough of the urban experience. I'm ready for a little peace, or a country, out to the country or the burbs or somewhere. But when I hear people who live in very affluent areas talking, oh, well, it's, shouldn't it? Well, there, shame, do that, shame on you shit. Hey, man, you're not in it. It's easy to be altruistic from your safe place in the, from your ivory towers. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to put anybody, I want to live in that area, those kind of areas myself, But when you're in the thick of it, it's a big, there's a vibe. The energy, it's palpable, And the riots aren't taking place out there at your suburban malls. They're taking place in the city, in the cities, in the downtown urban areas. So, and I'm not trying to shame anybody or put anybody down either. I'm not going to be the one doing this. One of the best things one of my friends who does live in the suburbs said, he's like, I want to know, instead of talking about how, oh, they're so bad people because they're rioting and destroying everything and blah, 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 blah. he's like, where can I go and volunteer, like at you know, an urban youth center, or you know, food. He's like, he wants to get in and really be hands-on and help. And I was so proud of him for that. I was like, yeah, man, he gets it, you know. Talking, you know, saying some catchphrase, and that doesn't get you off the hook necessarily. I mean, and I'm not saying you have to, I'm not saying you're on the hook. I'm not trying to guilt you into doing anything, or anybody into doing anything. But if more people had that attitude like my friend, yeah, he lives in an affluent area, but he wants to know where he can go to really get in and do something. Not just, you know, post something on social media. Oh yeah, so I posted that on social media, so therefore I'm... And I guess that does help, maybe. But to really get your hands dirty and get in it, you know, come down here. Work the soup kitchens. Work in, you know, in the youth center. Become a big brother, a big sister, a mentor to somebody who's comes from a troubled home, you know. Because that's where that's, you know, people, if you look at, you know, career criminals of all sorts, most of them, you know, didn't, it's because they really didn't have a lot of advantages, or maybe their parents were on drugs, and, you know, and they need help. They just need help more than they don't need to be locked in prison, especially people who have drug habits. They don't need to be locked in prison. That's not curing them of their drug habit. And needing drugs leads to crime. That's one of the main things. It's poverty, but a lot of it is because of drugs. I mean, it's Pisces moon, man. It's deep, deep stuff. It's more than just the surface. So look at those assholes out there rioting and looting. They're a bunch of assholes. You know, put that finger away. Put that finger and point at yourself. What can I do? You know. So what can I do to make it better? You know, not like, oh, well, they're a bunch of animals, they deserve it, let them all, you know, kill each other. You know, I've heard people say shit like that. It's like, wow, really? That's your attitude? Okay. And I'm just by that statement I just made, I was being judgmental myself. But come down into the city. See how, if you really care and you really want to change, see how you can help. Gemini, you know, Mercury, correspond, talk. Find out. Get information. Mercury's information. Get more information. What can I do? Even if you don't want to come down and do that, give some money to somebody who is doing it. Some youth pastor or somebody. Give them, you know, throw them some money to help them do better work. You know, even if you don't want to actually come down and get in it. You know, money is a lot, you know. Money wins elections, money makes the world go round, unfortunately. And that's a lot of what this Capricorn energy is, power and money. And that's a lot of what the Uranus and Taurus is, because Taurus rules money and frequency. And I'm not trying to get on my soapbox and preach at anybody either. You know, whatever you're going to do is what you're going to do, and that's all cool and good. And I'm not trying, I don't go around telling people stuff that I do. I hate that too. I hate when people tell, you know, do a good deed and then post the whole story on social media, or like the taking of the pictures of themselves giving the homeless money. That just, that's really a big turnoff for me. You know, if you're going to do a good deed, you do it quietly, without, you don't necessarily have to. I almost feel like that takes away the goodness of it to me. You know, if you got to go run and tell everybody what you did, then I don't know. Is it more of an ego thing? I mean, I guess the person still got the money and they could go buy, you know, lunch or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That to me, it's like a little bit more in the ego. But again, I'm getting into my own judgments, and yeah, I'm sure the guy who you gave the money to is happy to have it. But I'm sure also he doesn't want his face posted on social media. He's not proud of where he is or what he looks like, or, you know, that he hasn't had a bath, and, you know, or whatever, you know. I'm sure, you know, how many of us, you know, it's just like, oh, wait, don't take my picture. I don't have any makeup on. My hair's a mess, you know. How do you think they feel? People are taking pictures of homeless people and stuff and posting it, you know. Or even that Walmart crap, you know. Those Walmart photos of people not looking their best, you know. Maybe they're hanging out of their clothes because they can't afford, maybe they can't afford to buy new clothes. Maybe that's why they're shopping at Walmart. Hello, you know. But whatever, you know. It is what it is. You can't, it's not, that's another thing the guides tell me, and, you know, they're just like, you know, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. It's, you know, just do your best for you. And that's all everybody can do, right? I didn't mean to get on. I got a little preachy there. I'm sorry, everybody. Hey, if you want to get that Aries in, or the Libra ingress, I should say, that's a real popular reading. That's why I'm a little late getting this up. I'm getting a lot of orders because it's always popular. It'll be available for a few more weeks here. So if you want to get that, check that out on my website. Please check out my book. Oh, those of you who ordered my book, Transmissions for Humanity, it's in the Kindle lending library. And what happened was I was like uploading, I was formatting it for Kindle, and I uploaded like an early version, and a lot of people downloaded it and borrowed it from the Kindle library. And it's probably a little bit, the formatting's not quite right. It's probably not that easy to read. So if you were one of the early people that downloaded it like within the first few days, you may want, it's formatted real much better now, like 100 times better. I got the tool, the Kindle formatting tool thing, and did it correctly. So you might want to put it back in the lending library and get it out again, because there's a better version right now. I wasn't sure. It's really overwhelming. Those of you who wrote a book, released a book on your own, it's very overwhelming. It's like there's so much, crossing of T's and dotting of I's and formatting. The book writing is cool and fun, but then when you get into editing and formatting, and I'm still waiting on the Audible files. I mean, I recorded them, but it takes a long time for them to get approved. But that'll be coming out too. But I want to thank everybody. A lot of people are checking it out of the Kindle library, but a lot of people checked it out like before it was completely, So if you're one of them, I appreciate you wanting to read it. But I think if you return it and get it out again, I don't even know if that's a thing, because I'm not a member of the Kindle library thing. But there's a better. It's been reformatted and it's much easier to read, and it's in much better formatting right now. But I'm so happy that people are reading it. That's what I want. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'm already starting on the second book, and it's a lot of fun for me. It's charging my energy, and it's enlightening me a lot. I'm going to set up a page somewhere, maybe probably like on Facebook, for questions for the next book. If people want to ask questions. But right now I'm just still, it's a lot. But anyways. This is the Pisces full moon. Check it out. Do your releasing ceremonies. Do your Pisces and Neptune energy. And I say Neptune because it's all the same. 12th house, Pisces, Neptune. This is a time of this peace. This is a time of having that peaceful, quiet time. That's what Neptune, Pisces, and the 12th house is all about. Meditation, if you will, but, or whatever your meditation is, doing art. Sitting by the water at the lake, taking a bath, seeking peace. Be the keepers of the peace, all right? Light workers are keepers of the peace. I like that, and I'm gonna claim that. I'll take that, and I'm trying to be a keeper of the peace. But we're all humans, and we're having a human experience, and shit happens, we get aggravated, we get pissed, and especially with the Mars squaring Pluto and all this, this is the way to go. Go to there, find your peace. Go to find that peace, and that's going to, they said that can spread just as fast as any virus, or faster, or something to that effect. They compared it to the virus. They said peace can spread too, and so be a spreader of peace, They're talking about that, what was her name, Typhoid Annie? Peaceful Annie, I guess. I don't know. Anyways. Alright, everybody. I got a little off track, but that's what these readings are. We just hang out and we talk about astrology and the world, and that's, a lot of people like them. And if you don't like it, that's cool too, and it's alright. If you do like it, I want to thank you all for liking it and sharing it. And if you like my content, please do hit the subscribe button. Thank you for purchasing all my wares. The readings, again, the ingress reading is coming up for the next month or so if you want to get in on that. It's limited time. As far as astrology, that's the only interpretive astrology reading that I do for transits, so predictive astrology. The soul reading is astrology-based, also always available. I have other readings. I have books, I have decks, I have t-shirts, I have tons of stuff. And by contributing in that way, it also keeps this information flowing and going, and the readings keep on coming. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate, and that's never been so important in these turbulent times that we're in. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. Come back to that. You don't have to be so caught up in everything, All right. thanks for tuning in. I'm going to upload this, and I'll talk to you again next time. Okay, bye.